Okay, so today I'm sorry if you guys hear like a really bad echo. I've cleared out my makeup room, and because it's gonna get painted, and finally I'm gonna start decorating it and things like that. But I just decided to come and kind of do like a chit chat, get ready with me video, since I haven't done one. I think I've only done one on here. I think I've done one, but just for the simple fact that I was gone for some time. It was like a month, but you know, in YouTube world that seems like a long time, and you guys were checking in on me and just asking like where have I been and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to come in and check in with you, give you guys kind of like an update of what's been going on, or where I have been and things like that. So I'm going to start off with this matte concealer. This is not the concealer that I want to use. Since I'm cleaning up my makeup room, my smart self decided to just get these bins and just pretty much dump all of my makeup in the bins. And now I found all concealers except for the one that I actually want to use. So now I'm going to use the next one that I would that I feel like is most comfortable using, but I'm still going to have to find one to go on the top of my brows because this one is just too light. So yeah, let me just carve these out and then I'll come back and we can just start talking. Okay, so now that I have that completed, all I did was just use the rest of the concealer and just blend it down to use as my base. So the first color that I'm going to go in, this color right here from my Morphe 350 palette, and I'm just going to blend that into my crease. So I'll probably just list everything in the order down below, just so I won't have to keep pausing and coming back and letting you know what I'm using. I'll have it all listed down below so that you guys can see it. And yeah, but yeah, so I guess I could start from the beginning. About 5 months ago, if you follow me on Snap, like, this is why people say with like social media, like a lot of guys ask, like, if you follow you on Snap, like a lot of people usually update things on there. But yeah, if you follow me on Snap, then you know 5 months ago, or it probably like spark your memory once I'm saying it. Around my birthday was in April, so probably like 6 months ago I should say. I mentioned that my aunt passed away. Well, my great aunt passed away. I believe I did. But yeah, my great aunt passed away about 5 months ago. And that's my grandmother's sister. So yeah, with her, another great aunt of mine. I come from a really large family. My grandmother there was 13 of them, including her. So yeah, I come from a really big family. So my other aunt was living with her, and when she passed away, I automatically was just like, no, like my family is one of those families that do not believe in putting people in homes. Since we are so big, it's just like, no, someone somewhere can take this person. And I told my mother flat out, like, she can come live with us. So my mother didn't have a problem with it or whatever. Now I don't live with my mother or whatever, but she was just like, okay, my grandmother, now it's me, my grandmother, and my son. So my grandmother didn't have a problem with it or anything like that. So once we told her, she was just like, yeah, she was on board. She didn't mind. My aunt was 84. So when it's crazy because when we moved her in, the day that we moved her in and was just like packing up all her things at her house, my mother had like different just different gifts from past Christmases and stuff that she hadn't opened. And my mother was just like, oh no, Sue, because we called her Sue. That wasn't her name, but that's just what we called her. We was just like, you have to get these because she mentioned something about this upcoming Christmas. And I don't know if you guys are like this, but I'm a person, like, I listen to older people when they say certain things. And she was just like, oh no, I'm not going to be here. She's like, I'm not going to need them because I'm not going to be here for Christmas. And we was just like, what? And I'm just like, really? Like, I don't like when people speak like that, but at the same time, I still listen to what they're saying. So I'm just like, what you mean you're not gonna be here? Like you don't want to be here? And she's just like, oh no. She's like, yeah, I want to. And she's just like, but I just don't think I'm gonna be here for Christmas. And so we was just like, okay. But we just like, okay, so we just kind of didn't really talk about it, because it's just like, who wants to talk about like stuff like that? So months went on, everything was going fine or whatever. Now my aunt, once again, she was 84 years old. So for her to be 84 and didn't have any like type of ailment, she didn't have high blood pressure, she had nothing wrong with her. Only thing is, like, sometimes she had arthritis in her legs, so sometimes her legs would kind of hurt or whatever like that. So when she moved in, I will say a lot of people just kind of came to me and was just like, are you sure that's going to be a lot on you? Why would you do that? And kind of just like, I guess, discouraging me from doing it. But I'm just like, no, it's okay. Like, no, like, when I tell you, my aunt was one of the nicest people that you would have ever met. She was the sweetest person. And like, you know how people say, I'm sorry, it's a piece of hair right there, a person would never hurt a fly. She would not hurt a fly. Like, I don't think I can explain just how nice she was. So after a while, everything was fine. Like, I had no problems with her. We never asked her for anything, because one, we had to pay rent anyway, so it was just like we had no reason to ask her for anything. She was here whenever she would ask me, because that was her thing. Like, she would send people to the store, so I was going to the store constantly. Everything was fine. I would talk to her. It was just like, I've known her my entire life, but with her living there, like, I grew so close to her that it was just so crazy. And so I had ended up, like, we just got super close. What was this? Maybe towards the end of August, like mid-August. I noticed that like a week in August, like, she just wasn't eating a lot like she normally would. She had like a big appetite. Like, every day I would fix her breakfast. Like, she would ask for the same thing, like eggs, grits, bacon, or sausage and stuff like that. She would ask for the same things every day. So I would fix it, and when she didn't really have an appetite, I'm just like, okay. And then it got to the point where she just didn't want to eat anything at all. So I was just like, no, that's not like her, and that's not right. So she wasn't really talking or anything like that. So we ended up getting an ambulance and took her to the hospital. Once she was in the hospital, whatever, they ended up letting us know that she had like a mass or something on her brain. Long story short about that, she ended up having some type of, or what they believe to be some type of lymphoma on the brain, which is like a brain cancer. During that time, it was kind of hard for me, because I guess I just questioned a lot, because when I tell you, like, she's so nice, I just asked, like, why? Like, I always thought that she was just like go in her sleep or something like that, just to have like the most peaceful death ever. They told us that she was going to be on hospice, like, that was that. And if you would have saw her, like, she was still, once she had got to the hospital and they had kind of just hooked up to the IVs and things like that, and just got her back to getting her blood sugars leveled and things like that, she was just back to her being her. And we just couldn't understand, like, why would you say that she's hospice and just look at her like she's talking, she's being normal, her normal self or whatever. So they told us then, like, yeah, she's gonna be, I guess, considered hospice or whatever. And then this was August, like August 25th. So I was just like asking like the nurses that would come and talk to me, because I was there, which kind of, I guess, which went into the reason why I took the break, or it was the reason why I took the break. So September, once I got to September and they kind of let us know that she was going to be on hospice, I knew that she was just going to kind of need like around the clock care, even though I knew she was herself, but I still knew that I wouldn't be able to do YouTube like I normally had my schedule to do. Like, I knew that I was going to have to just kind of, you know, step back from things a little bit and just kind of focus my attention on her. Plus, I had other responsibilities. Like, I still had to live. And so once that happened, I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna even try. Like I had tried, I had took a week off and I was just like, okay, I had mentioned it on Snap. I'm like, I'm gonna come back and things like that. And you guys was like, yay, I'm so glad because I hadn't seen you and things like that. And I'm like, oh no, I'm coming back, I'm coming back. And then when she got back, like they had put her on hospice. And if you don't know what hospice is pretty much just, it's like they're like a nurse and stuff would come. I'm trying to explain it to you guys. Pretty much hospice is saying that you have 6 months or less to live. Now that's not necessarily like, God is the only one that can tell you how long you have, but I thought she was going to be like, the nurse was telling me like there are people that have been on hospice for like 2 years, and I honestly thought that she would have been one of those people just because of how she was when she left the hospital. I'm just like, okay, she's not going to pass away anytime soon. She was full of life. She was still talking. She was just still being herself. So the only difference was I did have to start bathing her every day and changing her and things like that. I didn't mind doing any of that, and a lot of people, like when I would tell certain people that that's what I had to do, they would kind of be like, really? Like, oh my God, I couldn't do that. Like, no. And I know, and I'm not trying to sound some type of way. Like, how am I trying to say this? Like, I don't know. I just felt like anything that I felt like I could do for her, I wanted to do because she was that way. Like, she would do whatever she could for a person. Like, she was that type of person. Like, she would do anything she could possible, whether it was financial, whatever you needed, she would do it for you. And throughout her time there, like, even though I never asked her for anything or I never took anything from her, she still would offer, and she was just like super nice. So I was just like, no, I'm not going to not do certain things for her because I felt like it would have been done for me, and I'm just not that type of person. So I kind of so once that happened, I was just like, you know what, I have to take a break. I can't do all of these things at once. And I did get a few people like, oh, well, why aren't you doing this and this, that, and the other. I wasn't really on Snap as much. I didn't, even throughout that month, like I didn't really do makeup. My focus was not on me. My focus was on her and taking care of everything else that needed to be done responsibility wise. Like at that point, YouTube was just kind of like well, it's a hobby, but it wasn't just a priority of mine at that moment. Feeling any type of way. While Sue was here, she thanked me so much. Like, she told me herself, like, I was there when no one else was there. I was literally getting up like clockwork at 7 o'clock every day while she was in the hospital, and I wouldn't leave until about 9 o'clock clockwork. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it took a lot. It took so much out of me, but it was just like, I couldn't not do it for her. Like, I just couldn't. And I remember when the doctors were asking her, like, did she understand? And she's just like, yeah. And it's just like, you're understanding that you're about to die. And she was just so calm about it. And before I knew, I had just like broke down and cried in front of her. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry, Sue. And she's just looking at me like, no. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I just excused myself. So fast forward into like maybe 2 weeks before she passed, we were talking, and she was just like, you're my best friend. And I was just like, you're my best friend too, Sue. And I remember us talking, and she said, like, I had asked her, because I just asked weird questions to her or whatever. Just, I ask people these type of questions anyway. I'm like, you ever have any friends, your best friend? She's just like, no. Like, she didn't have any kids or anything like that. And then she just told me that, and I called my mother, because I'm like, I don't want anyone thinking like I'm just making this up. But she was just like, yeah, I'm her best friend. And she had just let me know, like, you were there when no one else was there. I guess in the hospital and stuff. But yeah, so she had just let me know. She had thanked me so many times. So it was just like, I didn't feel like she left without me knowing that she was, I guess, fine. So I guess fast forward, and the last conversation, like real conversation that we had, she was just talking, and then my niece's birthday was September 15th, and she was just like, I really want to go. And then I told my mother, and she was just like, Nikki, I don't think that that's smart, because you have to change her, you have to do this, she's in a wheelchair and things like that. So she didn't go, and I don't know, I kind of felt bad about that. And so when we were talking, I was just like, I remember like 2 days before she passed away, I was talking, I was just like, Sue, when you feeling better, you want to go outside? And she's just like, yeah. And I said, where you want to go? And she's just like, anywhere. And she had asked me to go and get her a shirt with words on there. She saw me with a shirt with words, and I just stopped doing my makeup. She saw me with a shirt with words, and she was just like, I want a shirt with words on it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna get you a shirt with some words on it then. And so she had stopped, once again, she had stopped really eating. She would eat, she still had an appetite, but she had stopped eating like how she normally would. And then she kind of started aspirating. So when the nurse came, I let her know. And the nurse was just like, okay, we don't have what we need here, so she has to go back to the hospital. So that Friday, we took her to the hospital. I rode with her. I stayed with her. I asked her, like, she wasn't really talking then. She still would move, and like I would kind of understand what she was saying just by the movement of her hands, just because I got kind of used to that, her doing that when she was in hospital before. So I just kind of got used to her doing that before. And so I asked her, I was just like, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay with me leaving? Because I think I had something to do with, no, I think it was getting late. So I was like, okay, I'm finna head home. I was finna head home. And so I was just like, I had asked her, was she okay with me leaving? And she told me, yeah. And I just kissed her. I told her I loved her and things like that. And then that next morning, around like 10, yeah, it was 10:14 when they called me. And the nurse was just like, can you and the family get to the hospital? And I'm thinking at that point, like, she was kind of like taking her last breaths and stuff. But no, it was just like she had already passed away or whatever. So, but it was crazy because 2 days, literally 2 days before that, I had called my mother. And this is something that I don't normally do because I'm normally really just like, I guess, private with my emotions. I had called my mother and I was just like bawling my eyes out, and she's just like, Nikki, like, what's wrong? And I was explaining to her, like, she's going to pass away soon. Like, it was so weird because it had got to the point where I was so uncomfortable in the house. Like, I felt like I did not feel at ease in the house. I did not want to be here. Like, I just felt so uncomfortable. And this is somewhere that I've lived most of my life. Like, over 14 years I've lived here. So it's just like so weird for me to feel like that. And then my mother was just like, it's okay. It might be like her mother and stuff coming to get her. Like, it could, I'm like, it's just death in here. And she's just like, what? Like, it's just, but she understood what I was saying. But it was just a feeling that it was just like so uneasy, and I did not want to be here at all. It was just like, oh my God, I couldn't sleep, anything. It was so weird. And it was just like, I had never felt like that. It was kind of like creeping me out because I've never felt like that before. And the fact that I had called my mother like that is something that I have never done before. And I was just like, no, like, something's not right. Like, she's going to pass away soon. I told that to my mother. And sure enough, 2 days later, she passed away. But, like, I haven't really, I guess, cried about it. Just because I did all my crying at the hospital when they told me what was wrong with her. And they told me that she was on hospice. I did all my crying then. During the funeral, I was able to help out her sister with the funeral and handle all the business with that. So yeah, like, I didn't have any, like, I didn't feel any type of way during that time. Nothing in me was letting me cry or think sad thoughts when it came to her. Like, all I thought was happy thoughts. Like, whenever I came in here, like, all I would say is like, I would walk past her room and I just think like, oh, Sue, that's all I would say. But it would never be like a let me cry type of thing. Like, I would feel kind of down about it, but I never, I don't know, it wasn't the same. I'll say that. Like, it wasn't the same with, because I don't know if you guys remember, but like 2 years ago my cousin passed, and it wasn't the same like when he passed away. Maybe because he was younger, and yeah, but it just wasn't. I'm not gonna say like I'm happy about it, no, But it was something like she just wouldn't let me be, what's the word I'm trying to think, like I just couldn't be sad. Like all I kept thinking about was just happy thoughts with her. So that's pretty much where I've been this past month. That was my month. So in October I'm going to New York. So we had talked about it, and she was just like, and I was just like, would you ever, she's like, I would have loved to visit New York. She was just saying like she would love to visit New York. So I'm gonna go and buy me a shirt with a word on it, with some words on it, and I'm going to New York. So yeah, it kind of sounds crazy, like you're gonna buy a shirt and go to New York, but yeah, I'm just gonna go. I don't know, just kind of for her. So if that makes sense, it's for me, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Yeah, that's where I have been this month. And then once I did decide, okay, I'm gonna start back making videos, everything went wrong. Like my face just got super dry. Now when I was doing what I was doing, even though I was just like so stressed, my face was clear as a bell. Like so clear. Like I was like, man, makeup would look so bomb on me right now. Like it was just that clear. Like it was so nice. And of course, like people, when I tell people certain stuff about my skin, they look at me like, girl, that's all you worried about. But it's different when you know how your face usually is. So as of now, like I'm in good spirits. Everyone has told me just like how proud they were of me, of doing what I was doing. I didn't do what I did for recognition or anything like that. It was just me doing what I felt was right and what I felt like I should be doing. Like I didn't do it for people to tell me how proud they were of me, or for, like, I didn't do it for any of that. But I can honestly say, even though I felt like it took a lot out of me, if I were to know what I know now, and if I could rewind and go back to, I think it was like April 25th when she moved in with us, or April, like maybe a little bit before that, I would definitely do it again, like in a heartbeat, like no questions asked, because everyone has said like they think that her last 5 months has probably been some of her best that she's had, and I honestly feel like that too. And it's just like, if I, like, just knowing that someone felt like that during their last days, like I would never ever try to take that away from anybody. Like, no, because I wouldn't want anyone to take anything away from me, if that makes sense. So I would do it again in a heartbeat, no questions asked at all. So I'll probably end up dedicating this video to her. And for the most part, I didn't get anyone like saying anything too crazy to me about where I've been. Like I had a few people, and once I kind of just explained like it's a lot going on, like that would ask me certain things on Snap, like I guess kind of jokingly. And once I explained it's a lot going on, they just like, oh, I'm sorry, I understand, like I didn't mean no harm and stuff like that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go and do my liner. I'm gonna do it off camera. I promise I'm gonna bring you guys a liner tutorial. That was one of the tutorials that I had planned for the month of September. But yeah, so I'm gonna do my liner off camera, and then I'll be back to just show you me doing the rest of my face. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just prime my face, and I'm just gonna be using my NYX Angel Veil. And yeah, that's just that. I'm gonna be using a new foundation today. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this foundation. The guy at Ulta just kind of swindled me. Don't you hate when you go to like an Ulta or something and you ask someone about a specific foundation and they steer you to something that I feel like that might not be selling so well, or that they want you to buy? Like, no, I went in and I asked him about the Smashbox foundation. Now normally when I go in, I don't ask the people for help because they've sent me off numerous of times, because just looking at my Makeup Forever foundation and this foundation, this one, the color isn't off, it's the undertones that's off. Like this one is a lot more orangey, and even people that I've seen on YouTube use it, it just looks orange. So we're gonna see. And I have glitter all over my face, just like, I don't know, so I'm not gonna pile this on because I'm not trying to look like an Oompa Loompa, but we're gonna see. Now when he showed it to me in the store, it looked okay, but I don't trust those people ever since. Yeah, this is looking like pumpkin. I don't trust people in those makeup stores ever since I went to Sephora, and it was the first time I was trying to buy one of the Makeup Forever foundations, and I think you guys probably remember me telling you this, and in my brain I felt like this was my shade, but she's like, no, she tried to give me the darkest shade that there was. And one, it was a cool tone foundation. Two, it turned like an olive green on me. Like, it just looked awful. Then, how I knew I should have trusted her, but I don't try to be like, oh, I know everything. When she put the makeup over the makeup that I had. Like, no, you don't do that. Which is why when I do try to go to makeup places, I try to go without anything on, so that I get my true color, even though my Makeup Forever foundation is a perfect match for me. And I don't know, I just feel like foundation is one of those things I do not like to play with. Like, I can't stand to see people not use their right foundation, especially darker skinned people. Like, I think that like works my nerve, because it's just like a lot of darker skinned people will go lighter before they go darker just to avoid hitting the darker foundation, which is like, why? But this foundation is okay. I'll probably never buy it again. And I know that I can't go crazy on this foundation. Like, I would never like pump out, even though I don't pump out a lot on my foundations, I would never pump out a lot on this ever. Like, no, because already, like, I feel like I look like an orange. Now on camera it's showing up a lot orangier, but I don't play those orange games. Okay, so now I am also going to be trying out a new concealer. This is the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer, and it is in D37 Warm. This is in the darkest shade that they have, which is in 28 Clove. And I've seen people like darker than me using this, and it's just like, how though? Even with different undertones using this, how? How? It's a little bit warmer. This is my NYX, and this is the Kat Von D one. So this one is more of a, like, I like for my things to kind of be in the middle. Not too cool, not too warm. And this one is kind of more, yeah, warm. Like, it's a lot warmer. So to kind of neutralize that out, I'm going to go in and just add a little bit of my NARS concealer. Because I love my NARS concealer. Like, this concealer is the best to me. I don't use my LA Girl concealer anymore. I would love to, but Fine is too light. And then the color after that, it just doesn't, it's not the right undertone. So, yeah. I like the NARS one, and I feel like it's worth it. So I'm just going in with a beauty blender and blending that out. So like I said, when I was gone, maybe I should clear it up. Like, I didn't take care of my hair. I didn't do my hair. Like, I wasn't taking care. That's what I meant in that sense. I was still just like wearing wigs. And even though I wear wigs, I still take care of my hair. Like, I'm big on that. But I wasn't taking care of it at all. And then I did go and get it trimmed. If you follow me on Instagram, I did ask about natural hair salons here in Chicago. And yeah, like, I didn't do anything special to my hair other than wear wigs and stuff like that, which is why I have like a lot of weave reviews that I have to do, because during that time, like, people had sent me hair, and since I had already sent them and I had explained to them, just because being courteous, and I didn't want anyone thinking that I was being shysty with their product, I just explained to them what was going on, and a lot of them, like, not a lot, all of them were really nice and understanding. So this concealer is okay, but it's still like, I'm just not liking how I look orangey. And it doesn't look that orange in person, but on camera, I look like, oh, I look like an Oompa Loompa. I have a lot of wave reviews to do, and then I'm going to take a break from that because I am going to go get a sew-in before my trip. I haven't had a sew-in in a long time, but I'm just trying to focus back on my hair and the health of my hair, and just get it growing to the length, because before I wasn't even really worried about growing my hair out. But, well, not like, of course I want my hair to grow, but, you know, like, I didn't have like a goal for my hair. But now that I do, once I sat and thought about it, like, I want to get to the point where I want my curly hair to be all that I wear. And I like wearing my curly hair, but it's just not where I want it to be. So I don't really wear it. I'm just kind of now just trying to take care of it. And then when I thought about it, I was just like, when my hair was at its best, what was I doing? And I was getting sew-ins, and I was just like protecting it a lot. I wasn't, even though now I'm doing my hair, all I'm doing now is just braiding it, putting a wig on it, taking it down. I want to just go back to old habits because I know that it works. Okay, so before I finish everything, I've already just applied my blush, and that is my Raisin by MAC. And so for my lips, I just used a black just lip liner and filled in my lips first. And then I'm going to go in with this color by Lena Lashes called Orlando. It's a brown, but I want it to be a dark brown. So hi guys. Okay, so this is the completed look. I know you're probably like, where in the heck did the hair come from? But yeah, it's for a separate video. So yeah, all I did was apply that liquid lipstick, and that is in the color Orlando by Lena Lashes. I'll leave their stuff linked down below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little chit chat. Get ready with me. I haven't done one of these in a long time. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy it. Don't forget to like, comment, thumbs up, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.